All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be between XingKong versus Tho, taking place here on Autumn Leaves 2.0. XingKong spawning as the blue undead on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Tho spawning as the yellow human on the top right. Let's go ahead and get to that 2-minute mark of the game. Just go ahead and jump right into the action and see what will be in store. All right, Altar of Kings showing an Archmage. Meanwhile, we are going to be going for a Lich first here from the Undead. Lich first, Battle of the Brains, Intellect-based hero versus Intellect-based hero. Lich most likely going to come out, pick up a Rod of Necromancy, may sell that Scroll of Town Portal, and we'll see where we go from there. Rod of Necromancy, Ritual Dagger, and that Sacrificial Skull. All right, early Footman already out here on the battlefield. I guess he's trying to bait a Frost Nova, but not going to be seeing any of that there, as the Lich, well, does have a couple of skeletal minions already out. Going to try and clear out this 5-3-3 creep camp. Meanwhile, Archmage already going after the 5-3-3 creep camp off to the north. A lot of slow cast across multiple units here, as the Kobold Taskmaster will get taken down. Archmage, I believe it's a 5-3-3. Is he going to get to level 2? Yes, all right, so there must have been an additional level 1 creep amongst there. Meanwhile, we're looking at, well, XingKong actually clearing out the 5-3-3 creep camp, doesn't get to level 2, and already setting up an expansion of his own. So we are looking into a long game if both sides are looking to set up expansions and bases, and that's exactly what we have right there. Crystal Ball now dropped for the Archmage, Ring of Regeneration. Meanwhile, well, that Acolyte is still staying nearby. Lich is going after this Forest Troll Berserker. We're seeing a rotating of the ghouls. All right. Sorry, my wife has a habit of well, losing her phone right next to me and then using Find My Phone to startle me. It's cute, endearing, and, well, startling. Anyways, let's go ahead and come back around. Arcane Tower nearing completion. Meanwhile, Nerubian Tower also nearing completion as well. This Footman, is it going to be able to make it out? No, it is not. That Frost Nova really slowing things down. More Dark Ritual. Lich already back up to 250 mana, so this means that this Lich is going to have, well, 2 more bullets, so to speak, to try and fire off and get some damage in. All right, get some damage in here. We're looking at a low hit point ghoul. We are not taking the tier 2. Need to train up more Acolytes, perhaps. Only 7 out of 10 Acolytes, especially if we do see this Haunted Goldmine come to completion. Archmage off to the north here, perhaps going to try and take down a ghoul or 2. We're looking at an Arcane Tower, and Tho does have an Arcane Tower here, but he hasn't set up the base yet. This is an interesting play by Tho, waiting to see if his opponent is gonna commit to this Haunted Goldmine. Once that Haunted Goldmine is committed, then he knows that there's going to be a severe delay to tier 2 because the Necropolis needs to train up additional Acolytes. All right, it's not like the human player who can try to pick up a Goblin Shredder later and, well, pull in a couple of peasants from the lumber line in order to do a bit of mining, as the Lich is now just shy of level 3. Haunted Goldmine nearing completion now. We're looking at, well, a 9th Acolyte to be trained. Yep, 4 out of 5. And now we are going to have this 5th Acolyte pop on out and then perhaps have that tech to tier 2 right behind it. Now, what is the Lich really hoping to do here? Could try and put in some pressure. That Arcane Tower is up, though, and there are plenty of peasants here. Archmage is already at level 3, so level 2 water elementals, and picking up an additional Tome of Agility right there. Perhaps going to get a little bit of bonus armor as we see some damage, well, damage ready to go. All right, wow, no Nerubian Tower inside here. This is a major setback, and then now a water elemental also coming back across here. All right, so Graveyard is going to get pressured. Meanwhile, off to the north, Arcane Tower, ghouls, water elemental, both sides are fighting, and both sides are going to lose a handful of units here. All right, this is going to further delay the tech to tier 2 as more acolytes are going to be trained up. One acolyte already down, and 2 more acolytes could get finished off here. This ghoul down to, 19 hit points. He's going to get taken down, and both sides suffering very heavy casualties. Lich has come across, did get a number of Frost Novas down. More militia now trying to make their way over, and wow, both sides expansions have taken quite a bit of damage. We're looking at Water Elementals trying to put in some pressure here. Archmage does have enough, or should have enough, for another Water Elemental here in just a moment. No summoning as the Lich now making its rounds. All right, Archmage is going to be able to drop. No Cloak of Shadows, just trying to fight things off here. Perhaps going to get a little bit more damage here. Are we going to see some more damage go down? Yes, we are. Scroll of Town Portal to try and, well, save the expansion, and we're going to see that now. A handful of ghouls could get taken down. Archmage going to try and chase. There's going to be a long distance attack. There goes one. Another ghoul could get taken down if the other footmen do not get in front of it. Archmage, well, gets another kill and gets up to level 4. All right. Both sides suffering quite a bit of damage here. A little bit of gold loss, 8,900 versus 8,300, so about a minute mining loss there at the main base. Meanwhile, the expansion, though, setting up another scout tower here, perhaps going to try to go for an arcane tower or even go for a guard tower to try and protect against those ghouls who are able to deal large amounts of damage. XingKong waiting to get that last acolyte here and then perhaps start that tech to tier 2. Though has not started his tech to tier 2 yet, as we are looking at the Lich now ready to put into pressure here. All right, it is going to be an arcane tower. Bunch of low hit point peasants here. More skeletal minions making their way over. There's a big Frost Nova. There's some more Dark Ritual as well. So the Lich back up to 88 mana, looking to perhaps get in another Frost Nova here as another low hit point footman about to get taken down. All right, a couple of skeletal minions diving in against all of these peasants here. As we're looking at the acolytes, well, the expansion for undead also suffering quite a bit of damage. Necropolis taking quite a bit here as well, as that's trying to get summoned up. Arcane Tower quickly getting destroyed as the Lich is still getting plenty of Frost Novas in as well. All right, we're looking at some of that damage get racked up. All right, Lich going to go ahead and teleport away. What is he going to do? Teleport back down to the southern side here, back up to 100 and, well, down to 314. He's going to try to finish off a little bit more. He's going to be able to use some skeletal minions. No, he is not. There are no corpses nearby, trying to rack up a little bit more damage again as the Nerubian Tower is still offering protection here. All right, no more acolytes being trained. XingKong is teching the tier 2 already. So any acolytes lost are gonna be gone for quite a bit of time. Archmage coming back around here. Lich sitting at level 4. One more footman getting taken down, and we're seeing Nerubian Tower coming back across here. Ghouls trying to make their way back over. Level 2 Water Elemental could cause some problems, and Necropolis trying to get summoned up here, but this is gonna get pressured as well. One Spirit Tower, one Nerubian Tower. Low hit point ghoul trying to retreat all the way back. Is it going to get taken down? I do believe so. Down to 19 hit points. Not going to be able to, well, perhaps could get back onto Blight. This ghoul, what is it doing? Going to try and make its way back over, but the Archmage gets the kill again. All right, so early stages happening across the board. Tech to tier 2 has been started by Tho as well. XingKong needs to figure out a way to, well, keep these acolytes alive. Crypt Fiends are out here onto the battlefield as well. We only see one Nerubian Tower, no upgrade to another Spirit Tower, as this acolyte could get finished off as well. They're trying to retreat as the footmen are now diving into position into some of these places again. All right, Crypt Fiends are popping out here. Lich perhaps going to try to put some pressure. We're going to see some more acolytes perhaps taken out here. There goes, well, 2 more acolytes could get finished off. And we're looking at ghouls trying to finish off some of these targets. Again, that, well, Frost Nova going down and, well, able to take down one of those footmen. Another footman about to get taken out as well. Lich is also getting, well, closer to 4.5. Meanwhile, Archmage is just getting close to level 5. Death Knight could start to be trained here. The Black Citadel does act as another tower. And with the Black Citadel now done, 3 towers completed, XingKong seems to be in a great spot as he does have dual Crypt Fiends. All right, Necropolis is completed off to the north here. Lich is sitting at level 4. Death Knight is now being trained. Archmage is going to be forced to retreat back. Town Hall, tech to tier 2 nearly done. Both sides going to be able to spend a lot of their gold. Mountain King most likely inbound as well, as the Archmage looks to get to level 5. All right, very, very low on, very, very close to level 5 here. Archmage does have a ring or a scroll of regeneration, looking to perhaps use it here as soon as this creep camp is done. Is he gonna? No, he's gonna be just shy. Yeah, gonna be just shy. There's that scroll of regeneration to try and heal up all of those units. 45 supply compared to 42. Level 1 weapon upgrades for all of those footmen. Meanwhile, we are looking at a slaughterhouse and a tech to tier 3. All right, some big heavy casualties. Also, an acolyte here missing. All right, so only 4 out of 5. There's that acolyte. It's coming back around. Dual slaughterhouse getting summoned as we're looking at, well, the Spirit Tower, Nerubian Tower at the expansion. Death Knight should be coming across with the big death coil. Nope, no death coil yet. Are we going to see a Frost Nova across all of those low hit point footmen? That could be certain death. There's a Frost Nova taking one down there. Another low hit point footman. Death Knight could finish off with the Death Coil. And there goes another. Archmage is at level 5 now. We are looking at a little bit of damage coming back across. There was that Wand of Negation. So that Wand of Negation actually deals quite a bit of damage. And using charges of Wand of Negation to finish off a Water Elemental and gain more experience. All right, so I thought there was 2. It looked like there was 2 charges of Wand of Negation. Archmage going to perhaps come in for a deny. Yeah, that's going to get taken down there. Lich doesn't have that much mana. Stormbolt onto a Crypt Fiend. Death Knight going to perhaps come back around. There's a Death Coil for a save. Crypt Fiend now perhaps trying to back away. Down to 76 hit points. Already dead as the Mountain King and the Archmage, well, really able to place down large amounts of damage. Archmage with +9 damage between the, between the Claws of Attack, Ring of Superiority, and Mantle of Intelligence. All right, Flying Machine still wandering around here. 50 over 70 supply. Dual obsidian statues. More ghouls trained up. That is a lot of ghouls on lumber. You can see XingKong sitting on 760 lumber, and that number is just growing like mad. Perhaps just trying to grab as much lumber as he can, and then pulling all of these ghouls off here as we are getting the unholy strength for those ghouls to get that level 1 weapon upgrade. At some point, I do think that they are going to try and engage. Perhaps Ghoul Frenzy, Swarm, get in large amounts of damage. Both sides now sitting in low upkeep, as there is more than enough lumber right now, just using this time as best as they can, as we do not see a third and final hero yet. Flying Machines, 1/1 upgrades. We do not see any additional bomb upgrades on them, or at least I do not believe so. Nope, no bombard upgrade. We may need to see a Panda. If there's so many Flying Machines out, a Panda could blow them out of the sky. As we see a quick Frost Nova right there. Are we going to see a Stormbolt onto that Lich? Obsidian Statue is there. No, Dark Ranger for the third and final attack there. Goblin Zeppelin picking up a Rifleman. Death Knight going to come across. There's that Death Coil. No Orb of Fire. More Frost Novas coming down here as the Lich is able to get away. There is a Flying Machine nearby, the Squadron of Flying Machines nearby, making sure that, well, you cannot use the same strategy to try and elevator out that Dark Ranger. Dual Obsidian Statues there as well. There's a Stormbolt Sobi Mask on that Mountain King. There should be plenty of mana. Are we going to see a Wand of Negation onto that Water Elemental? No, ghouls are just swarming around now as the ghouls are trying to swarm into position. Low hit point ghoul. There is, well, a Dark Ritual once more as the Death Knight still shy on level 2. All right, only 3 ghouls left on the lumber line now. We are looking at Abominations and Disease Cloud looking to get research. There's level 2 on that Death Knight as we are looking at a couple of knights out here onto the battlefield. Dual barracks, dual knight train up. Still no animal war training. Stormbolt onto an arcane vault. There's a little bit of healing as we see Holy Light from the Paladin. All right, finally at tier 3 on both sides. Both sides fighting like mad. 67 supply compared to 54. And what is going to go down here? Obsidian Statues, both sides still fighting low on mana. Archmage does have level 2 Brilliance Aura, not level 3. As we see this Arcane Vault, well, nearly on fire, nearly taken down, but still working at least for now. All right, one final shot. No, Obsidian Statue able to take down that building there. Ghoul getting cleaned up again as, well, Tho is just trying to retreat back into his base, allow the guard tower some beautiful elevator micro to keep some of these units alive and going again. There is that Staff of Sanctuary saving a low hit point knight. He's able to back away. One Staff of Sanctuary on that Mountain King. Meanwhile, Dark Ranger is in trouble, gets 4 units surrounded, Mountain King and 3 knights there, and the units will be backing up. All right, that is going to be a lot of abominations. We are looking at 1-1 upgrades on the, or 1-0 upgrades on those abominations. They're going to be able to deal fairly decent damage, high hit points, and the Death Knight sitting at level 2 compared to a level 1 Paladin. Heals should be about the same overall. Abomination's going to try and engage here. There's a Holy Light there, and, well, units getting ready to fight. Stormbolt onto Abomination. Abomination needs to get away. Some beautiful focus fire by Tho as the, well, Storm, the Orb of Slow doing its thing against the Abomination as the Abomination gets taken down. All right, down goes a Knight here. Lich gets up to level 5. This could be very big news as well. Level 5 Lich, level 3 Frost Nova could be some, well, really, really dead units again as we see level 3 Mountain King storm bolting down units. Both sides, well, able to deal in some big damage. Knights with Sundering Blades, and now the Animal War Training still coming back across as we see the Goblin Zeppelin nearly taken out. All right, there goes a Frost Nova again. That Knight seemingly okay. Are these units going to be able to retreat back? Yes, they are. 54 supply compared to 66. Army sizes, there's no, Pad changed the overlay, so you no longer see the army size, you just see worker size, so you need to calculate yourself. So 50 workers compared to what, 50 supply army compared to what, 42 right there. Death Knight getting very close to level 3. Gonna finish up the Sasquatch here. We see Banshees are already out here onto the battlefield. No sign of possession yet. Flying machines still overhead. No sign of destroyers either, as the ghouls are clearing out all of this lumber. I don't know how there is a fraction of a gold, but there is fraction of a gold actually. So yep, don't know how that happened. Additional things going down, perhaps unsummoning of buildings or something like that. All right, back to normal. Death Knight going after the Sludge Flinger here. Lich to be forced to back away. That is a lot of Obsidian statues. Abominations need to get into that front line spot with the Crypt Fiends trying to hide behind. We're going to be looking at a death of a Crypt Fiend again. That Death Coil a day late and $1 short. Staff of Sanctuary is saving, so dual Staff of Sanctuaries now for Tho, as the units are still fighting. Another Crypt Fiend. There is another save again, and the Death Knight really needs to get to level 3 here, and will be able to get to level 3 after this, after all of this here. Meanwhile, Sundering Blades, oh, there's a Death Coil, big 400 hit point heal. Knight gets staffed back home here as the Dark Ranger gets blasted down with Holy Light and Stormbolt. Both sides still fighting pretty heavily. The Sludge Flinger still in this battle. A Banshee gets cleaned up. 74 supply compared to 50. Units trying to back away again. Abomination about to fall. Anti-Magic Shell not enough, but the Mountain King unable to escape. He falls at level 3. Death Knight now sitting at level 3 here. We're going to see Cloak of Shadows perhaps being left behind. Crypt Fiends trying to finish off or trying to get finished off by a couple of knights, but no, the anti-magic shell doing its thing. We are already at adept training, and perhaps we will now be getting into, yes, possession, Banshee mastery training, and suddenly those knights, which seem to be such a big issue, will start to, well, turn colors. That could be the fall there. Meanwhile, Dark Ranger sitting at 2.4. Oh, we no longer see the hit points. All right, so the overlay no longer shows you the hit points or the mana. So the Dark Ranger is getting resurrected, and it doesn't turn into a little gray color. All right, so there were some updates to the overlay, perhaps just to make it a little bit more stable and consistent. Yeah, APIs. Assuming that's how all of this works. Coming back through. All right. Banshees. Banshees, Lich, Dark Ranger, Death Knight on the move across the battlefield. This Death Knight must have some major hit point regeneration between that unholy aura, ring of regeneration, and also being a strength-based hero. Incredibly important since the Death Knight cannot burst heal himself. We see a haunting of the gold mine here on the southern side. There are still some red creep camps waiting to be cleared out on both the east and west side, as an expansion by Tho now trying to take the center expansion location, as the main bases are now nearly mined out. All right, Lich, well, trying to back away here. Dark Ranger, Lich should not be in this fight now. All of that experience should just go to the Death Knight and to that Dark Ranger. Meanwhile, Paladin is sitting at level 3, so that is going to be a great boost, as the Mountain King now out on the battlefield using up a Clarity Potion, trying to regenerate all of that mana. Fly Machines do have that Bombard upgrade, is able to deal some siege damage, and with that, we are looking at this Haunted Gold Mine about to be, well, taken out. All right, anti-magic shell griffins are out here onto the battlefield. This could be incredibly important. There's a couple of webs, and all 3 of these griffin riders already quickly brought down. There's a Staff of Sanctuary. Are we going to see some? Are we going to see some possessions? That is the question. As we're looking at 1 griffin already down, the Abomination's able to absorb quite a bit of damage. 2 more griffins about to get taken down as well, and that is going to be a big deal indeed. Level 3 now on that Dark Ranger, also picking up a Hood of Cunning. Death Knight now sitting at level 4, and now perhaps able to charge, as we do see the Knights out here on the battlefield. They have, or at least 1 Knight has been possessed, 72 supply compared to 74, and XingKong sitting on 1,700 gold. Significantly higher gold than his opponent, and now trying to, well, haunt this gold mine again. All right. Pressure getting underway here. Knight now trying to lead the charge. Stormbolt onto the Knight here. Remember, Knights cannot be healed by that Death Coil, so, well, the Knights are not nearly as strong as the Abominations. Abominations in that frontline spot. Low hit point Knight about to get taken down. It finally gets taken down there. Paladin with the Divine Shield able to stay alive, as it's going to try and completely, well, staff back a bunch of units there. Staff saving that Mountain King. Dual Staff of Sanctuary doing its thing here, as we see a couple of webs bringing down these flying machines. All right, the flying machines still bombarding. A mortar team able to splat down a Banshee there, as the Crypt Fiends still getting healed up. Banshees have to be very careful. They do take bonus damage from those flying machines, as the Crypt Fiends are webbing down these targets still. Another cannon tower taken down. Perhaps a Goblin Zeppelin will get finished off here. It gets, well, taken out again. And, well, more damage underway. Mortar teams being brought over. But remember, mortar teams, 360 hit points. Very fragile, especially when the Lich already is at level 5 and the Death Knight's already at level 4. Just a priority target to finish off such a low hit point 3 supply unit. All right, Archmage now up to level 6. He's going to go for Mass Teleport as he gets Staff of Sanctuary back home. Triple Staff of Sanctuary across all 3 heroes now, as the fight's still getting underway. Water Elemental continuing to push. We're looking at some Devour magic, and now perhaps trying to go after some of these Water Elementals. They're getting taken down, and the Mortar team going to get finished off here. 2 Destroyers are here. They're trying to put in pressure. Perhaps we're going to see the death of a Knight here, down to 203 hit points. More Flying Machines trying to join in on the battle. The Destroyers no longer have that much mana. Well, going to go after the Arcane Tower first, and perhaps be able to take it down. No repairs underway. Flying Machines coming back over. 1 Destroyer down, as the Flying Machines finally do get all webbed down as well. Crypt Fiends trying to finish off the Flying Machines. 69 supply compared to 65. Both sides sitting on very low gold, sub 500 now, as another Crypt Fiend gets taken down. 63 supply compared to 61, and we're still batting it up here. Lich gets bursted down. Stormbolt, and a Holy Light right there. A nasty 1-2 combination, as the Death Knight uses the Scroll of Town Portal to back away. Definite victory by Tho in that fight there, able to take down a level 5 Lich. Archmage also now sitting at level 6, does have access to Mass Teleport. What is also important to note, though, is well, we'll have to keep track of how much the Archmage actually uses mass teleport. In a game like this, it's difficult to tell if you should have gone for level 3 Brilliance or a First to give more mana to the Mountain King and to the Paladin, or if you should have gone for mass teleport. Yeah, mass teleport first, where you're able to move your army into position at just the right and opportune times. All right, quick damage there. Anti-magic cell protecting against those Griffin Riders. Abominations charging along inside here. We're getting some damage across all of these units. Are we going to see some damage there? A bash onto a Stormbolt, onto an Abomination. And wow, still more death and death. Beautiful kills across the board. 70 supply now compared to 45. And well, it looks like Tho is just constantly able to save those low hit point knights and his heroes much more consistently with that Staff of Sanctuary. The fly machines are also preventing any destroyers from really being able to take to the skies. And without the destroyers to the skies, and well, the knights are able to freely run around right now. Lich is sitting at level 6, and the Lich still has not trained its ultimate ability. Dark Ranger falls at level 4, and now Tho transitioning into Siege Engines. All right, with Siege Engines now out here onto the battlefield, they may just try and run into an expansion and clean things up. This main base here, 9,000 gold left. This expansion about to run out of gold. We're looking at XingKong trying to hold onto this expansion here as the Archmage Paladin now trying to go into an engagement at the human base. Paladin with level 1 Divine Shield. Death Knight could be in a bit of trouble, getting a couple of bashes. There's a Staff of Sanctuary. He's going to finish off this Knight. Knight gets Staff of Sanctuary twice. There goes that Knight. Lich falls at level 6. Death Knight falls at level 5, and that has got to be the game there. A beautiful game going back and forth. Well, no, not yet game. All right, Siege Engines clearing out the bottom position. Perhaps XingKong trying to resurrect, retrain up all of those units. Nope, that is going to be the game. XingKong does end up leaving. So, wow, all 3 bases being mined from here on Autumn Leaves. We saw heroes get up to level 6, but never saw any ultimate abilities. A really good showing by XingKong going up against one of the best human players in the world, Tho. But XingKong, although he was able to push to tier 3 and make for economic late game, Tho's use of that Staff of Sanctuary really was just too much to overcome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.